everybody, it's me. I'm back, Dawn Kelly and the Nourish Spot Hour. We've been on summer hiatus, and I'm not going to tell you that I didn't enjoy myself. I enjoyed every single day of my summer, and I would tell you that I'm really sad to see her leave. I'm hoping and praying that Mother Nature gives us a little bit of that Indian summer, that we get to enjoy some years. It would be nice if summer would extend itself and go all the way through my birthday. And I'm telling you guys, my birthday's coming up. It's in October. I'm a proud Libra, and so I'm hoping that we have some Indian summer all the way through October. Wouldn't that be nice, ladies?
That would be great.
That would be really nice. So there's a lot going on, but before I start talking about the things that I have going on, I want to introduce my two guests. And I think it's wonderful that my two guests are here with me because I actually met them both at the Nourish Spot. I've said to you all as my guests that, and as my audience, that the Nourish Spot is a community gathering spot. We're not just there nourishing your body. We're there also nourishing your soul and your mind. And we're nourishing the community, and we look for opportunities all the time to partner or to assist some of the organizations in the neighborhood. And CDAC, Communities Deserve a Chance, is one of those organizations, and I met Debby Garriques and Charnelle Darlington. I met them at the Nourish Spot, just chit-chatting, actually. They came in to buy some good, victuals. And, of course, me, I like to talk and introduce myself and, meet people. I actually talked to them and asked them what they were doing and, what they did. And they told me about this wonderful idea. And that was like a year ago, right? It was like this wonderful idea that they were working on, and they were looking for ways to partner with York College and other organizations in the community. And not only did they get started, they even had the Nourish Spot help cater one of their first events. So I'm really, really excited to have you two here. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation to come on the show. I know you have something really important coming up tomorrow, so that's another reason why I wanted you all to come on the show. So welcome, Debby. Welcome, Charnelle. I'm so happy to have you here. Look, we still together a whole year later. So let's first talk to me about, and you guys, you decide who talks. Tell me about the organization first, why it was important for you to establish it, and what is your mission?
Okay. So I'm Debby. Dawn, thank you for having us. And we started it actually collectively because it was our mission to give back to a community in which we grew up. So specifically, we're housed out of Catherine Count Basie, MS 72. Yes. And it's a community that I grew up in. I grew up in Rochdale. And Charnelle, my partner here, she also grew up within the area. So it was very, very important for us to give back to a community that we felt contributed to the success that we are. So we are successful in our own right, and we felt that it was only right to do that. So specifically, our organization is called Communities Deserving a Chance. And what it is an organization that provides mentorship for ages 8 to 18. So we break them up into two subgroups. So we have ages 8 to 12 and then 13 to 18. So we really make it kind of like a college environment. We have a syllabus for them to follow, and specifically the topics that we cover is career development. We talk about social media, cyberbullying. We also talk about economic awareness, self-development, self-esteem, so many different topics that we feel is very impactful that you may not get within the kind of school setting, the typical school setting where we're encouraging academia. And in fact, we also talk about healthy living. So one of the reasons why we asked Dawn to come on and to really provide nourishment for our group of people was because we felt that we want to promote healthy lifestyle. One thing in terms of healthy living, childhood obesity, childhood diabetes is something that's really, you see a lot more commonly than you would have seen before.
It's true.
So these are areas that we want to address, and we want to model that behavior. So that was why it was important for us to reach out to you. So we make sure that they see healthy wraps, juices, healthy salad dressings, things like that they may not have been exposed to the community as a whole, and definitely the girls that we're serving. So ultimately, we are free program. Let me
Yes.
highlight that
Yes.
as well. We are
Free.
free, and we are housed at Count Basie MS-72 every Saturday, and we're about to start back up again in October. So we run for 8 weeks, and we have a fall semester from October to December, and then we start back up in January for another 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, Charnelle, tell me, tomorrow you guys are doing something special, right?
Yes, so tomorrow we'll be at the Rochdale Village Fall Festival.
And that's September 8th,
Yes.
Sunday, September 8th.
Yes, we will be there from 10 to 3 o'clock. We're also doing a little raffle there as well at 1 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. So please come and check us out. We'll be right across from the Rochdale Community Center. So please come see it. It's going to be a great festival. It's so much food. So many different Black-owned vendors are going to be there. So please come and support.
So now I want to ask you ladies, why? Why now? Like, why did you think that this was the opportune time? And I was going to say it's 2019, so 2018. Why was 2018 the opportune time to establish your organization?
Well, when me and Debbie, when our paths crossed, we were both working at another organization as well. And then we were talking, and we just built this sisterhood, this bond immediately. And we were like, I want to do this forever. I want to give back. I want young girls that, like ourselves, who were once young, to have this sisterhood, this safe space where they could come, to heal their mental health, to heal their physical well-being, because being young, you deal with so many things and you don't understand how to put them into place. You don't know where to put your aggression, your anger. So having this safe space was something that me and Debbie really wanted to create for the girls within our communities. Yes.
So how many, so you started in 2018, so how many girls have you actually impacted so far?
So right now we actually have about 5 girls,
Okay.
and so we're really looking to expand, and in fact we're trying to work with administrators at the school to see how we can, those that are at risk, if you will, be able to utilize a program like this. And so
Okay.
hence why we're here and really just trying to market the organization, because we know that it's rather impactful. In fact, as you were asking Charnelle why we did this, it was, yes, we had our own inner beliefs for why we did this journey, but we also surveyed the community. So we went right to Rochdale and also the surrounding communities and asked, what do you want in a mentorship program? So actually all of the courses that we provide was specifically voted upon the community. So this didn't
that's
just come from
wonderful.
us. It came
Okay.
from the survey that we had. And one of the things that I remember from doing this survey is that there is such a generational gap. And so it gave us actually more encouragement, because the older generation wants to reach the younger generation, but they just don't know how. They feel that when they try to actually address them, they're almost afraid because they feel that they're not going to take heed to it, or they're thinking that there's going to be some sort of negative reaction.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just kind of, from that generation, from what we surveyed, kind of has just a hands-off approach, but yet that is not fixing the problem, because here's a generation that needs to be supported.
Right.
So we can't just kind of drop it and say, it's not my problem, because
Right.
it is our problem. That's a
Exactly.
generation that's going to be taking care of us at some point. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we serve them in every capacity that we can.
Well, I definitely agree, and it's funny that you brought up the whole generational gap issue, because actually in church, I think it was not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before last, we have a young minister. Her name is Marissa Farrow, and she actually talked about the fact that there are 6 different generations right now kind of jockeying for attention, for love, for everything on the earth, right? And the youngest ones are the ones that were pretty much born with a computer in their hand, right? And so some of the social skills that earlier generations learned, they don't have them, because everything that they do is through some type of technological advance. They don't really create those social relationships, one-on-one. They do it through a phone. They don't really know how to carry on a conversation, because they're texting on the phone. So you're absolutely right that there is a big kind of I would say a break between the oldest of us and the youngest of us, and we need to figure out how to close that gap. And programs like CDAC, I'm sure, are just the right antidote for that challenge.
One thing, if I may, is that we don't present ourselves as if we are the expert.
Okay.
We are not the expert of a generation that we are not a part of. So when we meet with our girls, we try to gain perspective from them and be able to understand what their way of life is versus don't do this, don't do that. That's not what my generation did, because that creates the further division.
Right.
So we really try to meet them where they're at and really just make it a safe space where we can see what the barriers are, but if we don't create the safe space and make them feel comfortable that they're not going to be judged, we're not going to obtain the information that will be helpful to us to be able to hopefully provide a level of preventative measures. And what we will say even within the group is that suicide is a big topic within this demographic, and it's in these conversations that we are able to even hear stories that my classmate had that and give them the skill set. What do you do if one of your classmates has or presents with this type of thought, and how to speak to it and how not to judge it? And we've had where there were interventions based on our teachings that saved another child's life.
That's excellent.
It's important to have these conversations and not try to, a lot of times we're putting a blind eye, but guess what? Statistics are real and it's happening, and this generation are taking their own lives. They're having suicide by death is the right term, and we want to make sure, or death by suicide, is the right term, and how we refer to it. We no longer say you commit suicide. That's the wrong terminology because of the negative connotation that with the word commit, we commit a crime.
Right.
So we want to make this a positive topic because it's when we're able to see what are the risk factors and how can we prevent this from happening. And it's in the safe space that we provide that I know that they're getting the skill set to deal with topics like that. So we are very big on their mental health and their physical well-being.
Now, let me ask another question. So I think you said you have 5 girls already registered for now, but how many have already gone through the program?
So,
and have any of those women, young women, have they turned into mentors now for your new cohort?
So we had 5 go through completely, and they're still going through because there's some skill sets that they still want to do. They are not old enough yet. They're still young. Our youngest one is about 9, and our oldest one being 14. So they're not really old enough to serve that role, but they have been mentoring each other. Recently, actually, at the end of the summer, we took them to the park, and I was a little bit reluctant because this generation, as you said, they're very tech savvy. They communicate that way, and honestly, when I took them to the park on a Saturday, no other kids were in the park. So I was wondering, how is this going to go? Are they going to play with each other? Do they even know how to do this? Do they know how a swing operates? Do they know how to jump a rope?
What happened to double dots, throwing some jacks, So
I was a little bit concerned, but you know what? They went out there, they started doing push-ups, they started interacting with each other. There was a sense of camaraderie. Although I was there as a mentor, they had a sisterhood within themselves, and I really appreciate that. So as we grow, I just foresee, and Charnelle and I foresee, is that will just be the vision, that they will build a sisterhood within themselves, that they can continue to come back, and we'll never shut the doors. We'll always have it open for them.
So now you mentioned something. You said that you're working with the administrators of MS-72, but are you open? Is the program open to young people that go to, say, IS-8 or junior high school 48?
Yes. So any child can come to MS-72 and just fill out a form for the beacon that's underneath MS-72. And we just need the form filled out and medical, and that's it. They can come.
So is there an email address or a phone number that any parent or young woman that's watching here in Southeast Queens, if they're interested, can you please tell them how to get in touch with you?
You can definitely go to our website, which is www.cdacwon18.com. That is CDAC118.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at CDAC118 as well. That's CDACWON18.
And I like that you're using WON, not ONE.
Yes.
That's lovely because we are going to win together, right? I love it. You're watching the Nourish Spot Hour on Caribbean Buzz Radio or TV, depending on where or how you access this podcast. The Nourish Spot Hour is brought to you by the Nourish Spot, which I own with my children. We're a Black family-owned business, and we're open now, located at 10705 Guy Arborough Boulevard. And if you can't walk in and pick up your food, you have a number of delivery apps that you can contact: Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates, Grubhub, or Seamless. So look, I'm sure you're hungry. I'm sure you're thirsty. Eat right, drink right. Let the Nourish Spot nourish you. And with that, I want to talk about a couple of things before I bring you all back into the conversation. So it's been a great summer, as I mentioned to all of you earlier. I've had the privilege of earning quite a few accolades, and I'm really happy to announce them here today. So this Monday, September 9th, I have been asked by the New York Small Business Services Department to serve as a coach/mentor for women entrepreneurs. And this Monday, between 9 and noon, we entrepreneurs will be hosting if you want to open a food business seminar at Con Edison in Manhattan. And yours truly, Dawn Kelly, will be on that panel along with a number of other extraordinary women from New York City that indeed have their own food service businesses as well. And I'm really excited. This is my, thank you. It's my first time ever serving in this capacity, and also I'm just really, really, really pleased to be chosen as a mentor for New York City. I love that. I can't even tell y'all how that feels, awesome. Right? How it just feels so good. And then the next thing that I'm really, really proud of is on September 28th at Thomasina's, the Douglas King Democratic Political Club is going to honor a number of individuals from Southeast Queens, and yours truly is one of them. And I'm so proud and I'm so grateful because it's not just honoring me. It's honoring my children, Jade Elise Duncan and Owen George Duncan II, as well as those employees, the college students and the high school students that work with me and that my children and I mentor each and every day. So I'm really, really pleased to announce these things, and I'm hoping that some of you will have time and interest and the coins to support the event at Thomasina's on September 28th. And one more thing before we go back to talk to our lovely guests. That same day, September 28th, earlier in the morning, it's a Saturday, I'm also going to be on a panel. It's an economic empowerment panel that is being brought to you by the NAACP and the Alpha Men here in Jamaica and Long Island. I'll have more information on that one next week, but it's going to be here in Southeast Queens as well, and I'm looking forward to sharing the story of the Nourish Spot and how we got started and how we have been able to sustain the business with all of the individuals that attend that event. And I'm almost positive, but that event is free and open to the public. So if you are an individual that are interested in opening your own business, whether it's a food business or any other kind of business, come on out and attend the Economic Empowerment event on September 28th and learn from me and the other illustrious panelists about what they did to get their businesses started and how they sustain their businesses each and every day. Because it's not easy, y'all, I'm going to tell you. But it's exhilarating. And every single day, I'm prouder of myself and of my children because we tried. You know, we didn't have a blueprint. I had friends that had been in business. There were books that I read. And then I had my unrelenting faith in God that he wouldn't let me fail, and he hasn't. And I tell you, not only hasn't, it's like the Nourish Spot is just a jumping off point. Because look, we here, and I have a radio show now, a podcast where I can bring on individuals that I feel are doing wonderful things in the community that's benefiting not just themselves, but it's benefiting us all. Because you know what? If we're all literate, if we're all community minded, if we're all thinking about each other, then we're all going to rise together, and we won't have to worry about, the spate of gun violence that we've been seeing lately, some of the robberies that we've been seeing lately. If more people were loving themselves, loving their health, loving their lives, loving the people around them, we wouldn't be having some of this stuff. So the more we can do what we're doing, the better we'll all be. So with that, I'm going to turn the conversation right back to the ladies on the Nourish Spot Hour. So Debbie, tell me a little bit about your background. Like, why do you believe that you and Charnelle are the right people for these young women to learn from?
Okay. So my background, so professionally, I'm a registered nurse. And so by trade, I can speak to these specific topics when it comes to physical ailments. I know the statistics in terms of diabetes and all these other obesity within this demographic that we're serving. Mental health is a highly stigmatized topic within the community. So I want to shed some light on that, letting them know that there are resources, creating that safe space that they can talk about things that they're experiencing within the school setting. And as outside of what I am professionally, I believe that God has placed this purpose in my heart. So just the ability and the gifts and the skill sets that he's given me to talk and be able to captivate the students that we serve, I think that's a great culmination to do the work that I'm doing, and it's what drives me. I learn from them, and I love to say that I am not the expert. So as much as I have a background and I have education and those things help, I love the experience of learning from them, and they keep me abreast of what's going on in terms of the social media world, in terms of the, music, things that new dances. So I enjoy, it's invigorating to me as much as it is to teach and give skills, for them to give me skills that I can use for my life.
I think that's wonderful. And you, Charnelle?
Well, I do want to pay homage to my mom. A lot of people do know her. Her name is either Miss Phillips or Cheryl. She is like the mother of Southside Jamaica. She has mentored, took on children of her own, so she has inspired me to do this work. And also with my background in fashion and beauty, I get a lot of young girls coming to me like, oh my goodness, how you do this? You're so pretty. And I'm like, you're beautiful too. You don't need this. But that's how I use it to grab them in. And then just let them know that, self-empowering yourself. If you want to start your own business, your YouTube channel, which is big amongst our kids nowadays, you can do that. You can do whatever you want to do if you want to be a beauty guru. So that's how I relate to this generation. And having my mom inspire me to just want to help children that may not have had the guidance that me and Debbie had growing up. And just helping them stay on that right path is why we really started it.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. So tell me, what's planned for this year? What kind of activities? What kind of trips? Like, what kind of things can the girls look forward to should they decide to come tomorrow and sign up at the Rochdale Fall Festival?
Yeah.
Should they decide to come? Tell them about what they can look forward to.
So one of the things that we're really big on and that we want to do is community service. And that's something that we have spoke about within our first year and our first two cohorts, our groups that we serve. So that's one big thing that we would like to do and initiate for the holidays, so they know the importance of giving back. It's great for us to share the tools among each other, but there are people that are less fortunate, and we want them to know what it is to see what it is to experience that, but also empower others that maybe can't even see the light within themselves. So that's one of the things that they have to look forward to. We are also in the process of...
I love that. I'm sorry
Thank you.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's okay.
But you said those that may not be able to see the light in themselves. I love that. And not to cut you off,
No.
but if that's what CDAC's mission is, then I hope you guys never stop
Yes.
pouring into young women in Southeast Queens, and when you finish with them, you can
Yes,
get to
go
northern Queens too. Okay, so
yes.
go back, finish what you were saying.
Yes, and also just kind of really exposing our girls to things that, like museums, things that they may not, it's good to be in the community because that's where we're housed, but we want them to be able to expand their horizons, really be imaginative. And so we want to expose them to things like that. So for instance, for the summer, we actually had a picnic, right? So we
Okay.
brought items, we went to a nice park in Long Island, we sat there, we talk about etiquette, we had a
Okay.
tea party for them where we are helping them to explore and
That's
be,
nice.
what is this fork? Where do you place this fork? Where do you place this knife? How do you sit up in a nice stance where it's respectable for the person that you're sitting across? How do you speak with voice and diction?
Right.
How do you communicate? So these are the things, but when you're in different settings,
Right.
you start to see people with these behaviors and you naturally want to mimic that.
Exactly.
So that is our goal. So there's a lot of right now where actually, one person that I would like to shout out is Citizens Committee. They're actually the organization that gave us our first grant. So we
Yay,
thank them.
Citizens
We
Committee.
thank them, and if it wasn't for them, we weren't be able to launch this idea within the community. And they're an organization that helps all of the boroughs and other people like us that have ideas that they want to execute for the community. So we want to thank them because it's through them we're able to provide health. One of the things is that we talked about having healthy snacks is that
Right.
when we have our day-to-day functionality with our girls, we provide healthy snacks for them, and then the school actually provides lunch for them. So it's important, again, in exposing them, and so the money that we use and we're hoping to get more grants is helping us a lot for those trips. But in the meantime, taking advantage of what New York has to offer is some of these things are free.
Yes.
Going
Right.
to a beautiful park is free. Going to a museum, even if it's a small minimal cost, it goes a long way in terms of the experience that they are going to encounter.
So let me challenge my viewers and my listeners. CDAC needs you because we're looking for opportunities to take these young ladies and expose them to all New York has to offer. The best parts. So if any of you museum owners or curators, if you're looking to give young ladies an opportunity, a peek in to see the backgrounds and the inner workings of where you work or what you are out here doing, please give Debbie and Charnelle a call, or rather email them. And how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can go to our website at www.cdacwon18.org, or you can go to our Instagram at CDAC118, and that is CDACWON18.
Yes, DM them. Go in their DMs and offer these young women opportunities. I know that they're out there. I mean, because there's a lot of organizations now. I was fortunate growing up. My mother put me in the Girl Scouts, right? So I was a brownie, and then I guess you're a Girl Scout, and then you become an cadet. And I still have my badges, and I still believe that much of what I learned in those meetings, I still rely on today. And it helped build a confidence in me, right, that I'm not sure I would have had I not had the opportunity to be in the Girl Scouts. We learned lots of things, like I got a sewing badge and I got a home ec badge. So all of those things we learned. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have Girl Scout programs here in Queens, because I think they do, but I don't know where they are. So that's why programs like yours are so important, because these girls do need the help. And I would say this too, at the Nourish Spot, we are mentors. We actually work very closely with some of the area high schools, and we are giving or offered the opportunity to provide training in store to 11th, well, really like 10th, 11th, and 12th graders during the school year. And then during the summer, we get kids a little younger. I think they're in the ninth grade for a finite amount of hours. And I do use that time to train them. It's not really just about the making smoothies and making salads. I'm talking to them about life. They're asking me questions and I'm telling them the truth, okay? I try to kind of sugarcoat it a little bit because the truth can be harsh, right? But I do my best to make sure that they are knowledgeable about what's ahead. In fact, two of our kids, one came to me, well, both of them came to me as high school students, and now they're in college. Wow. They're in their first year of college. I'm going to shout out Denzel Sancho. He's at Queensboro. And then Carla Ramirez, who is at City Tech. We're really, really proud of them, because Carla came to the Nourish Spot through the Mayor CCAP program. It's a culinary program, another mentorship program that luckily for us, we're strategic partners with. And so for her to come through that program, and then when the program ended, she was stellar, like stellar. So I said, you want to work here? I'm going to hire you. She said, me, Miss Dawn? You, Miss Carla, I want you to work for me part-time. When you're not in school, you could work here. Would you like to work for me? And she said, yes, Miss Dawn, I want to work for you. And then the same thing with Denzel. Now with Denzel, I tried to get him to go to another school because and this is something hopefully you ladies are teaching these young ladies. So he had the opportunity. He got a letter from a school outside of New York City, as well as he got accepted into schools here. I was so trying to get him to leave. But that's something that a lot of young black children don't know how to manage, okay? And I would say it wasn't easy for me when I left home, okay? My parents hadn't gone away to college, so that was something that we had to learn. But I knew that he could do it because I did it. But he wasn't ready yet, so he's at Queensboro, and he's still working for me, and I'm very happy and very proud. Yeah. So I would tell you, I understand what you're doing. I applaud what you're doing, and I hope that you never stop.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay? And again, as the CEO of the Nourish Spot in Jamaica, Queens, I would tell you that I didn't open the store just to feed people. I didn't. I'll be honest. I felt like I had more to give, and I had lots of information that I could share. And, what good is it to keep the information in your head? Like, it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there, gathering dust. And so when anyone comes into the Nourish Spot, if they're looking for a job, they're looking for a friend, they're looking for a hookup with a strategic opportunity. If I can find it for you, I'm going to help you get it, okay? And these ladies can attest to that. That's really what we're there for. We're there to connect the dots. We're there, yes, to make sure you have healthy choices so you don't have to, go far. You don't have to rely on McDonald's. And I'm not putting down McDonald's, but you don't have to rely upon the fast food places for your nutrition every day. We wanted to give you choices, and I'm glad that you have choices. And the same thing with us wanting to give choices around food. You ladies are giving young ladies choices around life. And I would tell you, I grew up in this hood, and I'm fortunate that I did have choices. But I do know many people that didn't. And as a result, some of the decisions that they made weren't the best for them. And so let's talk about that a little bit before we have to wrap up this show. How do you teach the young ladies about decision making? Do you have like a decision making chart? Walk me through like that kind of activity that you would do with the young ladies.
So we talk about, probably on a more simplistic level, is that how do you interact with your parents, right?
Okay.
Because they are the ones that are taking care of you. And so we would run through some scenarios that they have encountered. So if your mother, for instance, tells you that you have to clean your room,
Okay.
okay, and how are you responding
Right.
to your mother, and how are you communicating effectively when she is asking you to do something? And so
Right.
some of them that are like within their teenage age, they were saying that they would respond and be dismissive and kind of have an attitude, and in fact even said a comment, well, I'm a teenager, that's kind of like what we do. And so we
Oh, really?
yes. And so again, when we hear this again, we're trying to make sure that we're not kind of hijacked in the situation, because we want to say, oh, really? Definitely. I wanted to say that because I didn't think to do that.
Right.
But we try to walk through. So when you did that and you reacted that way towards your mother or your parent, your guardian, what have you, what was the end result?
Okay.
Because now there are consequences for that behavior.
Right.
And now you experience that you got something taken away.
Right.
Or maybe you're not able to go somewhere because of just simply something like communication.
Right.
And so, and then also asking your mom or your parent or your guardian, is there anything that I can help you with? Your parents are working, your guardian are working very hard to provide food on this table, to make sure that you're good, that you're getting to school every day. And sometimes it's just the lack of that awareness.
Okay.
So we walk them through things that they can do to honestly have a very positive and productive relationship with their parent when communication is effective. So we would
That's
actually have
lovely.
them act out the scenario. So
Okay.
when you act a certain way and you're responding with an attitude,
Right.
what is the end result?
Right.
However, when you respond and you are responding in a positive manner and you make sure that you are effectively communicating with your parent, what is the end result? When you
Okay.
ask them, is there anything that you can do? What kind of relationship is that promoting with your parent? And so I think they are a little bit open to us because being that we are not their parent,
Right.
they think that we're kind of cool. So
Yeah.
they will take heed to what we're saying
Exactly.
versus if it was coming directly from someone that they view as a guardian or a parent. So we run through scenarios with them.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And now I wonder, because this happens to me now. I've given, because they're my employees, they all have my phone number, right? So every once in a while, I'll get an errant text from school saying, Miss Dawn, this happened in school. What should I do?
Yes.
Or I'll get, somebody offered me this opportunity. What do you think? So do you all get that now from the girls
Yes,
too?
we do.
Okay.
We just had one of our girls just starting high school this week.
Okay.
So a bit nervous and anticipating a change and just like walking her through on what to expect, and that is a normal feeling, and that you'll make new friends, and kind of walking her through based on our experiences with entering high school and it just being something new.
Okay.
So she knows that she can contact us. We check in on her to see how her week is going, and we check in on all the girls to make sure that we not only kind of pray over them, ensuring that they have a good school year, because that we know that there's so many barriers that they can experience along the way. So we just pray for guidance, and also their parents, because it
Right.
really does. We say it takes a village to raise a child, but it's really just not on the parents. We all have a shared responsibility to check in with them, not waiting for them to check in with us.
Well, I think that's nice. And let me ask a question, because you brought up the parents. Do you do anything with the parents?
Yeah.
Yes, we had the parents involved in the tea party that we had, so we had them come dressed too.
Okay.
And they had to participate as well as the girls.
Okay.
And the parents are very involved, and we are very thrilled and grateful for that. Because we know some parents, it's hard. You're working a lot of jobs to pay rent and take care of your children. So to have the parents involved is like a main point in what we try to do.
Good.
Yes.
So I got to do a shameless plug. You're watching the Nourish Spot Hour on Caribbean Buzz Radio TV. I'm Dawn Kelly. The Nourish Spot Hour is brought to you by the Nourish Spot, a healthy food and beverage haven here in Southeast Jamaica, Queens. We're located at 10705 Guy R. Brewer Boulevard, and we are open now until 7 p.m. So you can walk in and customize a menu offering of your choice, or if you're unable to walk in, you can contact one of our delivery partners, and that would be Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, Grubhub, or Seamless, and they'll deliver your menu option right to your door. I'm really happy today that I have the two founders, if you will, of CDAC, That's Communities Deserve a Chance. Here with me, I have Debbie Garriques and Charnelle Darling. Got it. Got it. I don't have my pad with me, so I'm testing my memory. And thank God it's still doing good. So earlier in the episode, in the segment, I mentioned a couple of things that's going on, and I'd like to mention them one more time. This coming Monday, September 9th, I and a number of other women entrepreneurs will sit on a panel for We NYC, that's Women Entrepreneurs of New York City. It's a program by Mayor de Blasio in the city of New York, where women entrepreneurs coalesce together and, actually kind of do some of the things that you guys are doing for the young ladies. We mentor each other, we coach each other, we, show each other up, encourage each other, and teach each other how to do things. And I'm just really glad that I've been chosen to be a coach. And then on September 28th, and you got some time, there are two events that are coming up. One in the morning time, I think it's about 12 to 2. There's an economic empowerment event where there's a number of speakers, including yours truly. Here in Jamaica, Queens, we're going to be talking about business and, other things, investing, all kind of things that, can help you increase the value of your livelihood and your life in general. And then that night, the Douglas King Democratic Political Club is going to honor a number of people in Southeast Queens, including myself. And the one name that I can remember from the invitation is also June Bunch. It's June Bunch. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity, because I would tell you, I am a child of Southeast Queens. My parents moved me here into Cambridge Heights from Astoria, and I went to school here. I went to 147, I went to Sacred Heart, went to Martin Van Buren. I left to go to college, and I came back. I worked at York College for some years, then worked at Prudential, and now used my money to open up the Nourish Spot. And I would tell you, there's no more gratifying feeling than to be honored by people that you grew up with. One of the women that's involved in this, she and I were in the second grade together. And I would tell you, one of our common friends said to me the other day, and it just pulled everything more clearly into focus. She said, "Dawn, do you realize that we've been friends since before we had permanent teeth?" Mm-hmm. That says a lot. Yes. I don't have many friends like that. Mm-hmm. So for my friends to choose to honor me and my children and what we're doing on behalf of the people of Southeast Queens, I can't tell you how I feel, because it's hard to quantify. And your turn's going to come soon, too, because people are watching. So I want to ask, what can our elected officials do for you? What can our Councilman Adrian Adams and our Councilman Danique Miller and our elected leaders like Gregory Meeks, what can CDAC benefit from our legislators? Tell them now, because they listen.
Okay. Well, come visit us. See what we're doing first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But definitely we want to take our platform, just as the years progress, to higher and higher levels. And in order to do that, typically we need funding, right? We're starting off where we're pretty grassroots, and we are going to take advantage of the items that New York has to offer that are free or have minimal cost. But definitely college tours as our girls get older, but these things take money to do. Mm-hmm. Or even going to shows, a ballet, exposing them to different arts. Mm-hmm. Those things take funding, and also exposing them to different foods, different cuisines. Right now, we try our best to expose them in terms of healthy options, but we want our girls to be well-versed, and also being able to share resources, resources with us, so that way we can expose them to whatever it is that's not only within the community, but that's outside of the community as well.
And you, Charnelle, anything you want to add?
Yes, and we want to expand because we know there are plenty of other young girls who may not be aware of our program or who are looking for mentorship and they just don't know where to go. So just having our great senators back in and just spreading the word about our program to bring in some more girls so we could go ahead and change some more lives.
You hear that, Senator Comrie? They talking about you, Leroy. And I love Leroy Comrie. I've known him for a very long time. So I'm glad to know that he and his staff have been helpful to you as well. Because, one thing that's good about our community, and I see it more now that I'm an owner of the store, is how our elected officials, they kind of coalesce together, similar to what you're teaching the girls, similar to what I'm trying to teach my employees. That teamwork makes the dream work,
Yes.
right? So when they all get together and they get behind the different things going on in the community, it makes it so much more powerful and so much more impactful, and then people take notice.
Yes.
So I guess one more thing. Have you guys got a lot of publicity? Have you been written about in the newspapers? Or, I know you've been on my show now, but now we got to figure out how to get you on some more shows.
So I would say no to that question. This is our first platform, if you will, in this capacity, and we're so grateful and hoping that this just is the light that shines and gives us other opportunities.
Okay. Well, don't worry. You'll be able to share this. As I mentioned to you earlier, the Nourish Spot Hour, we're filmed here at Caribbean Buzz Radio with the help of our great program manager, Nigel Baptiste, who's over there. But once we finish here today, I have a team that actually packages the material and we put it up on iHeartRadio, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. So YouTube will be able to take it and share it and send it out to anybody that you want, so that they can know about CDAC and CDAC's mission, your goals, and your accomplishments, right? Because people want to know what you're accomplishing as well. So I guess I have two more questions I ask all my guests, so you guys have to answer it too. What do you do to nourish yourself? So who wants to go first? You want to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
I meditate, I talk to my grandma, my mom, and I eat clean.
Explain.
So when I saw your shop was opening, I was on the bus 111 going home, and I was like, I know I'm going to get food from there every day because I just want to change my life, how I was eating, my lifestyle. And sure enough, that's what I did. And once
I could tell.
yeah,
I see the difference. I see the difference.
I did. I lost about 16 pounds.
Yes. The Nourish Spot can help you lose weight too.
Yes. And I introduced Debby to my favorite parfait from you.
Which we had today, by the way.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I didn't pay for this. I tell you, I didn't pay for this.
We stopped on the way.
Yeah, but just, taking time for yourself is, especially your mental health, is how I nourish myself.
And one more thing before we ask Debby to tell us how she nourishes herself. She mentioned to us early on that she was a registered nurse. You didn't tell us about what you do. So I'm not going to let you off. Tell us about what you do.
So I have my degree in fashion and textiles and merchandising. I am currently a makeup artist and a self-esteem builder. That is my goal in life, is to touch as many young women and girls to boost their self-esteem. And like we've talked about all here, is the mental health is where it starts. And affirmations has helped me throughout my entire life.
Well, I love your regal turban. It's just beautiful. And with it being Fashion Week, I'm surprised you had time to come sit here with us today.
I know. No, yesterday was very crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your work on the runway. And now it's your turn. I don't think you're going to get away.
No.
Debby, tell us, what do you do to nourish yourself?
So what do I do to nourish myself? I am really big into working out. I do like CrossFit kind of workouts in the morning actually by Corball Fit, which is actually right here in Queens Village.
Okay.
And I enjoy it. It's invigorating. I do
Okay.
it about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
before work. So it takes a lot of discipline, but through this journey, this fitness journey, and also eating clean, like Charnelle had mentioned, I lost about 80-something pounds.
Yes!
So,
Yes.
and what I will say is that it's not even about the physical well-being or that you look better or you can fit into a smaller size that you did before. What it's done for my mental well-being, I wake up, I'm very intentional about my day. It's therapeutic to me. I also believe in therapy. Going to therapy and speaking to someone, not just when you're having a bad day, but someone that can reflect back to you some of the things that, and hold you accountable for some of the things that you want to work on. Those are the things that keep me whole. Having a great support system with my friends, my family, people that I know that I can truly be my true self, my authentic self without judgment is something that really keeps me going and highly motivated.
Well, this is lovely. I thank you, ladies, so much. And now I have one more question. I'm sure my program manager wants me to shut up, but I just have one more question. But it's going to start with a statement. You two don't have children.
No.
No,
Neither one of you.
no.
Where does this maternal urge come from? Where does it come from? Because I'm a woman with 2 kids, okay? Now, of course, I've always been somebody that wanted to help. But in terms of kind of just taking my life and, putting a hole in the sand and standing the flag and saying, this is what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I didn't have children. So I want to know, tell me, what's driving you to?
I've seen too many young girls lost, and you could just see it in their eyes. And I'm always taking the bus and the train, and I'm seeing them. And sometimes I stop and I ask, "Are they okay?" And they tell me, "No, they're not." And then we start talking, and I give out my number, and you could call me anytime. My girls know. I don't care if I'm at work. I'm leaving and walking off, and I'm taking up that phone call because I don't understand what it's like to not have a mom, because I have a mom. But I've met so many girls who have a mom but don't feel like they have a mother. So just being that person, that support system for them means the world to me. Because I don't want our young girls out here lost, beaten, and just looking for love. Looking at when it truly, love is within them.
That's
Right? And just helping them find that, that's why.
And Debbie?
So I'm actually the oldest child out of the 3 of us. So I think that some of my maternal instinct is that I was, the one that was in charge when mommy wasn't around. So I got a lot of practice in terms of that. And then I also went to dance school about probably 17 years, 18 years of my life. And
Which one? Tell us.
So I went to Genesis.
Okay.
And it was, at the time, it was housed in Rothschild Village.
Okay.
And where I grew up, in fact. And one of the things that I remember is that I always looked up to the older girls that was in the higher group than I was. And they, as we were preparing, if I was in junior high school and they were in high school, they would tell us, okay, what would you expect to do in high school?
Okay.
Then they went to college. I was in high school. What do you expect with this transition? And I think just having it there, I'm also from Caribbean descent, so my parents are both Jamaican, and they worked really, really hard. And so that's why I'm a firm believer in it takes a village to raise a child, because there are certain things that they just didn't have the time to give me, because they were trying to make sure that they put food on the table and that the bills were paid, and for that I'm forever appreciative. But there were skill sets that I learned from mentors like in dance school that were kind of informal mentors. I went there to learn a craft, as you said, with the Nourish Spot.
Right.
You're teaching them about
Culinary. Right.
But in that same setting, you are mentoring them. And
Yes.
that's exactly what dance school did for me. And I feel like it's only my responsibility to pass the torch. And if someone blessed me in that capacity, it's only right for me to do the same for someone else.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you both for coming on to the Nourish Spot Hour today to share the mission and vision of CDAC. Communities deserve a chance. With my listeners and viewers, I applaud you both for having this selfless streak and wanting to see the young women of Jamaica and beyond do better. And we're talking about Jamaica Queens. She did say Jamaica West Indies, but we're talking about Jamaica Queens.
Yes.
And I look forward to being of assistance to you going forward. And one last time, let's tell the people how they get in touch with CDAC.
Yes. You guys can go to www.cdacwon18.org. And you can also check us out on Instagram at CDACWON18. That is CDAC 118.
Thank you very much. And with that, we're going to wrap up the Nourish Spot Hour for this Saturday. We look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, you are what you put into yourself. Thank you.